Good day. All Quiet on the Western Front, Chapter 7. Takes a moment to get set up. This is a longer chapter, so if you wish to get yourself a cup of tea in anticipation, feel free to do so. There is nothing glamorous about this. Again, All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Marie Remarque, published 1929. We are on chapter 7. They have taken us back farther. They have taken us farther back than usual to a field depot that's so that we can be reorganized. Let me start that over again. They have taken us farther back than usual to a field depot so that we can be reorganized. Our company needs more than 100 reinforcements. In the meantime, when we are off duty, we loaf around. After a couple of days, Himmelstas comes up to us. He has had the bounce knocked out of him since he has been in the trenches and wants to get on good terms with us. I am willing because I saw how he brought Hay Westhouse in when he was hit in the back. Besides, he's decent enough to treat us in the canteen when we are out of funds. Only Jaden is still reserved and suspicious. But he is won over too. When Himmelstas tells us that he is taking the place of the sergeant cook who has gone on leave. As a proof, he produces on the spot 2 pounds of sugar for us and a ½ pound of butter, especially for Jaden. He even sees to it that we are detailed the next 2 or 3 days to the cookhouse for potato and turnip peeling. The grub he gives us there is real officer's fare. Thus, momentarily, we have the 2 things a soldier needs for contentment: good food and rest. That's not much when one comes to think of it. A few years ago, we would have despised ourselves terribly. But now we are almost happy. It is all a matter of habit, even the front line. Habit is the explanation of why we seem to forget things so quickly. Yesterday we were under fire. Today we act the fool and go foraging through the countryside. Tomorrow we go up to the trenches again. We forget nothing really. But as long as we have to stay here in the field, the front line days, when they are past, sink down in us like a stone. They are too grievous for us to be able to reflect on them at once. If we did that, we should have been destroyed long ago. I soon found out this much. Terror can be endured so long as a man simply ducks, but it kills if a man thinks about it. Just as we turn into animals when we go up to the line, because that is the only thing which brings us through safely. So we turn into wags and loafers when we are resting. We can do nothing else. It is sheer necessity. We want to live at any price, so we cannot burden ourselves with feelings which, though they might be ornamental enough in peacetime, would be out of place here. Kemmerich is dead. Hay Westhaus is dying. They will have a job with Hans Kramer's body at the Judgment Day, piecing it together after a direct hit. Martins has no legs anymore. Meyer is dead. Max is dead. Bayer is dead. Hammerling is dead. There are 120 wounded men lying somewhere or other. It is a damnable business. But what has it to do with us now? We live. If it were possible for us to save them, then it would be seen how much we cared. We would have shot at it, though we went under ourselves. For we can be damned quixotic when we like. Fear we do not know much about. Terror of death, yes, but that is a different matter. That is physical. But our comrades are dead. We cannot help them. They have their rest, and who knows what is waiting for us. We will make ourselves comfortable and sleep and eat as much as we can, stuff into our bellies, and drink and smoke so that hours are not wasted. Life is short. The terror of the front sinks deep down when we turn our backs upon it. We make grim, coarse jests about it. When a man dies, then we say he has nipped off his turd. And so we speak of everything that keeps us from going mad. As long as we take it that way, we maintain our own resistance. But we do not forget. It's all rot that they put in the war news about the good humor of the troops, how they are arranging dances almost before they are out of the front line. We don't act like that because we are in good humor. We are in a good humor because otherwise we should go to pieces. Even so, we cannot hold out much longer. Our humor becomes more bitter every month. And this I know. All these things that now, while we are still in the war, sink down in us like a stone. After the war shall waken again, and then shall begin the disentanglement of life and death. The days, the weeks, the years out here shall come back again, and our dead comrades shall then stand up again and march with us. Our heads shall be clear, we shall have a purpose, and so we shall march, our dead comrades beside us. The years at the front behind us. Against whom? Against whom? Some time ago, there was an army theater in these parts. Colored posters of the performances are still sticking on a hoarding. With wide eyes, Crop and I stand in front of it. We can hardly credit that such things still exist. A girl in a light summer dress with a red patent leather belt about her hips. She is standing with one hand on a railing, and with the other she holds a straw hat. She wears white stockings and white shoes, fine buckle shoes with high heels. Behind her smiles the blue sea with white horses. At the side is a bright bay. She is a lovely girl with a delicate nose, red lips, and slender legs, wonderfully clean and well cared for. She certainly bathes twice a day and never has any dirt under her nails. At most, perhaps a bit of sand from the beach. Beside her stands a man in white trousers, a blue jacket and sailor's cap, but he interests us much less. The girl on the poster is a wonder to us. We have quite forgotten that there are such things, and even now we hardly believe our eyes. We have seen nothing like it for years, Nothing like it for happiness, beauty, and joy. That is peacetime. That is as it should be. We feel excited. Just look at those thin shoes, though. She couldn't march many miles in those, I say, and then begin to feel silly, for it is absurd to stand in front of the picture like this and think of nothing but marching. How old would she be? Crop asks. About 22 at the most, I hazard. Then she would be older than us. She is not more than 17, let me tell you. It gives us goose flesh. That would be good, Albert. What do you think? He nods. I have some white trousers at home, too. White trousers? Say I. But a girl like that? We look askance at one another. There's not much to boast of here. 2 ragged, stained, and dirty uniforms. It is hopeless to compete. So we proceed to tear the young man with the white trousers off the hoarding. Take care not to damage the girl. That is something toward it. We could go and get deloused anyway, Crop then suggests. I am not very enthusiastic because it doesn't do one's clothes any good, and a man is lousy again inside 2 hours. But when we have considered the picture once more, I declare myself willing. I go even farther. We might see if we could get a clean shirt as well. Socks might be better, says Albert, not without reason. Yes, socks too, perhaps. Let's go and explore a bit. Then Lear and Jaden stroll up. They look at the poster, and immediately the conversation becomes smutty. Lear was the first of our class to have intercourse, and he gives stirring details of it. After his fashion, he enjoys himself over the picture, and Jaden supports him nobly. It does not distress us exactly. Who isn't smutty is no soldier. It merely does not suit us at the moment. So we edge away and march off to the delousing station with the same feeling as if it were a swell gentleman's outfitters. The houses in which we are billeted lie near the canal. On the other side of the canal, there are ponds flanked with poplars. On the other side of the canal, there are women, too. The houses on our side have been abandoned. On the other side, though, one occasionally sees inhabitants. In the evening, we go swimming. 3 women come strolling along the bank. They walk slowly and don't look away, although we have no bathing suits. Lear calls out to them. They laugh and stop to watch us. We fling remarks at them in broken French. Anything that comes into our heads, hastily and all jumbled together. Anything to detain them. They are not specially wonderful pieces, but then where are such to be had about here? There is one slim little brunette. Her teeth gleam when she laughs. She has quick movements. Her dress swings loosely about her legs. Although the water is cold, we are very jovial and do our best to interest them so that they will stay. We try to make jokes, and they answer with things we cannot understand. We laugh and beckon. Jaden is more crafty. He runs into the house, gets a loaf of army bread, and holds it up. That produces a great effect. They nod and beckon to us to come over, but we don't dare to do that. It is forbidden to cross to the opposite bank. There are sentries on all the bridges. It's impossible without a pass. So we indicate that they should come over to us, but they shake their heads and point to the bridge. They are not allowed to pass either. They turn back and walk slowly down the canal, keeping along the towpath all the way. We accompany them, swimming. After a few yards, they turn off and point to a house that stands a little distance away among the trees and shrubbery. Lear asks if they live there. They laugh. Sure, that's their house. We call out to them that we would like to come sometime when the guards cannot see us at night, tonight. They raise their hands, put them together, rest their faces on them, and shut their eyes. They understand. The slim brunette does a two-step. The blonde girl twitters, bread, good. Eagerly we assure them that we will bring some with us, and other tasty bits too. We roll our eyes and try to explain with our hands. Lear nearly drowns trying to demonstrate a sausage. If it were necessary, we would promise them a whole quartermaster's store. They go off and frequently turn and look back. We climb out on the bank on our side of the canal and watch to see whether they go into the house, for they might easily have been lying. Then we swim back. No one can cross the bridge without leave, so we will simply have to swim over tonight. We are full of excitement. We cannot last out. We cannot last out without a drink. So we go to the canteen where there is beer and a kind of punch. We drink punch and tell one another lying tales of our experiences. Each man gladly believes the other man's story, only waiting impatiently till he can cap it with a taller one. Our hands are fidgety. We smoke countless cigarettes until Crop says, we might as well take them a few cigarettes too. So we put some inside our caps to keep them. The sky turns apple green. There are 4 of us, but only 3 can go. We must shake off Jaden, so ply him with rum and punch until he rocks. As it turns dark, we go to our billets. Jaden in the center. We are glowing and full of a lust for adventure. The little brunette is mine. We have settled all that. Jaden drops on his sack of straw and snores. Once he wakes up and grins so craftily that we are alarmed and begin to think he is cheating, and that we have given him the punch to no purpose. Then he drops back again and sleeps on. We each hold of a whole army loaf and wrap it up in newspaper. The cigarettes we put in too, as well as 3 good rations of liver sausage that were issued to us this evening. That makes a decent present. We stow the things carefully in our boots. We have to take them to protect our feet against treading on wire and broken glass on the other bank. As we must swim for it, we can take no other clothes, but it is far and quite dark. We make off with our boots in our hands. Swiftly we slip into the water, lie on our backs and swim, holding the boots with their contents up over our heads. We climb out carefully on the opposite bank, take out the packages and put on our boots. We put the things under our arms, and so all wet and naked, clothed only in our boots, we break into a trot. We find the house at once. It lies among the trees. Lear trips over a root and skins his elbows. No matter, he says gaily. The windows are shuttered. We slip round the house and try to peer through the cracks. Then we grow impatient. Suddenly Crop hesitates. What if there's a major with them? Then we just clear off, grins Lear. He can try to read our regimental numbers here. And smacks his behind. The door of the courtyard stands open. Our boots made a great clatter. The house door opens, a chink of light shines through, and a woman cries out in a scared voice. Shh, shh, comrade, mon ami, we say, and show our packages protestingly. The other two are now on the scene. The door opens and the light floods over us. They recognize us, and all three burst into laughter at our appearance. They rock and sway in the doorway. They laugh so much. How supple their movements are. Un moment! They disappear and throw us bits of clothing, which we gladly wrap ourselves. Then we are allowed in. A small lamp burns in the room, which is warm and smells a little of perfume. We unwrap our parcels and hand them over to the woman. Their eyes shine. It is obvious that they are hungry. Then we all become rather embarrassed. Lear makes the gesture of eating, and then they come to life again and bring our plates and knives and fall to on the food. And they hold up every slice of livered sausage and admire it before they eat it. And we sit proudly by. They overwhelm us with their chatter. We understand very little of it, but we listen, and the words sound friendly. No doubt we all look very young. The little brunette strokes her hair and says what all French women say. La guerre, grand malheur, pauvres garçons. Not a very good French woman's voice, I know. I hold her arm tightly and press my lips into the palm of her hand. Her fingers close round my face. Close above me are her bewildering eyes, the soft brown of her skin, and her red lips. Her mouth speaks words I do not understand, nor do I fully understand her eyes. They seem to say more than we anticipated when we came here. There are other rooms adjoining. In passing, I see Lear. He has made a great hit with the blonde. He's an old hand at the game. But I am lost in remoteness, in weakness, in a passion to which I yield myself trustingly. My desires are strangely compounded of yearning and misery. I feel giddy. There is nothing here that a man can hold on to. We have left our boots at the door. They have given us slippers instead. And now nothing remains to recall for me the assurance and self-confidence of the soldier. No rifle, no belt, no tunic, no cap. I let myself drop into the unknown, come what may, yet in spite of all, I feel somewhat afraid. The little brunette contracts her brows when she is thinking. But when she talks, they are still. And often sound does not quite become a word, but suffocates or floats away over me half finished. An arch, a pathway, a comet. What have I known of it? What do I know of it? The words of this foreign tongue that I hardly understand, they caress me to a quietness in which the room grows dim and dissolves in the half light. Only the face above me lives and is clear. How various is a face. But an hour ago it was strange, and it is now touched with a tenderness that comes not from it, but from out of the night. The world and the blood, all these things seem to shine in it together. The objects in the room are touched by it and transformed. They become isolated. And I feel almost awed at the sight of my clear skin when the light of the lamp falls upon it and the cool brown hand passes over it. How different this is from the conditions in the soldiers' brothels, to which we are allowed to go, and where we have to wait in long queues. I wish I never thought of them, but desire turns my mind to them involuntarily, and I am afraid for it might be impossible ever to be free of them again. But then I feel the lips of the little brunette and press myself against them. My eyes close. I want it all to fall from me, war and terror and grossness, in order to awaken young and happy. I think of the picture of the girl on the poster and, for a moment, believe that my life depends on winning her. And if I press ever deeper into the arms that embrace me, perhaps a miracle may happen. So after a time, we find ourselves reassembled again. Lear is in high spirits. We pull on our boots and take our leave warmly. The night air cools our hot bodies. The rustling poplars loom large in the darkness. The moon floats in the heavens and in the waters of the canal. We do not run. We walk beside one another with long strides. That was worth a ration loaf, says Lear. I cannot trust myself to speak. I am not in the least happy. Then we hear footsteps and dodge behind a shrub. The steps come nearer, close by us. We see a naked soldier in boots, just like ourselves. He has a package under his arm and gallops onward. It is Jaden in full course. He has disappeared already. We laugh. In the morning, he will curse us. Unobserved, we arrive again at our sacks of straw. I am called to the orderly room. The company commander gives me a leave pass and a travel pass and wishes me a good journey. I look to see how much leave I have got. 17 days. 14 days leave and 3 days for traveling. It is not enough, and I ask whether I cannot have 5 days for traveling. Bertinick points to my pass. There I see that I am not to return to the front immediately. After my leave, I have to report for a course of training to a camp on the moors. The others envy me. Kat gives me a good advice and tells me I ought to try to get a base job. If you're smart, you'll hang on to it. I would rather not have gone for another 8 days. We are to stay here that much longer, and it is good here. Naturally, I have to stand the others' drinks at the canteen. We are all a little bit drunk. I become gloomy. I will be away for 6 weeks. That is lucky, of course, but what may happen before I get back? Shall I meet all these fellows again? Already Hay and Kemmerich have gone. Who will be next? As we drink, I look at each of them in turn. Albert sits beside me and smokes. He is cheerful. We have always been together, opposite squats. Cat with his drooping shoulders, his broad thumb and calm voice. Mueller with the projecting teeth and the booming laugh. Jaden with his mousy eyes. Lear, who has grown a full beard and looks at least 40. Over us hangs a dense cloud of smoke. Where would a soldier be without tobacco? The canteen is his refuge, and beer is far more than a drink. It is a token that a man can move his limbs and stretch in safety. We do it ceremonially. We stretch our legs out in front of us and spit deliberately. That is the only way. How it all rises up before a man when he is going away the next morning. At night, we go again to the other side of the canal. I am almost afraid to tell the little brunette that I am going away. And when I return, we will be far from here. We will never see one another again. But she merely nods and takes no special notice. At first, I am at a loss to understand, and then it suddenly dawns on me. Yes, Lear is right. If I were going up to the front, then she would have called me again. Pauvre garçon. But merely going on leave, she does not want to hear about that. That is not nearly so interesting. May she go to the devil with her chattering talk. A man dreams of a miracle and wakes up to loaves of bread. Next morning, after I have been deloused, I go to the railhead. Albert and Kat come with me. At the halt, we learn that it will be a couple of hours yet before the train leaves. The other two have to go back to duty. We take leave of one another. Good luck, Kat. Good luck, Albert. They go off and wave once or twice. Their figures dwindle. I know their every step and movement. I would recognize them at any distance. Then they disappear. I sit down on my pack and wait. Suddenly, I become filled with a consuming impatience to be gone. I lie down on many a station platform. I stand before many a soup kitchen. I squat on many a bench. Then at last the landscape becomes disturbing, mysterious, and familiar. It glides past the western windows with its villages, their thatched roofs like caps pulled over the whitewashed, half-timbered houses, its cornfields gleaming like mother of pearl in the slanting light, its orchards, its barns and old lime trees. The names of the stations begin to take on meaning and my heart trembles. The train stamps and stamps onward. I stand at the window and hold on to the frame. These names mark the boundaries of my youth. Smooth meadows, fields, farmyards, a solitary team moves against the skyline along the road that runs parallel to the horizon. A barrier before which peasants stand waiting, girls waving, children playing on the embankment, roads leading into the country, smooth roads without artillery. It is evening, and if the train did not rattle, I should cry out. The plain unfolds itself. In the distance, the soft blue silhouettes of the mountain ranges begin to appear. I recognize the characteristic outline of the Dolbenberg, a jagged cone springing up precipitously from the limits of the forests. Behind it should lie the town. But now the sun streams through the world, dissolving everything in its golden red light. The train swings round one curve, then another. Far away in a long line, one behind the other, stand the poplars, unsubstantial, swaying and dark, fashioned out of shadow, light, and desire. The field swings round as the train encircles it, and the intervals between the trees diminish. The trees become a block for a moment, and I see one only. Then they reappear from behind the foremost tree and stand out a long line against the sky until they are hidden by the first houses. A street crossing. I stand by the window. I cannot drag myself away. The others put their baggage ready for getting out. I repeat to myself the name of the street that we cross over. Bremerstrasse. Bremerstrasse. Below there are cyclists, lorries, men. It is a gray street and a gray subway. It affects me as though it were my mother. Then the train stops, and there in the station, with noise and cries and signboards, I pick up my pack and fasten the straps. I take my rifle in my hand and stumble down the steps. On the platform, I look round. I know no one among all the people hurrying to and fro. A Red Cross sister offers me something to drink. I turn away. She smiles at me too foolishly, so obsessed with her own importance. Just look, I am giving a soldier coffee. She calls me comrade, but I will have none of it. Outside, in the front of the station, the steam roars alongside the street. It rushes foaming from the sluices of the mill bridge. There stands the old square watchtower. In front of it, the great mottled lime tree, and behind it, the evening. Here we have often sat. How long ago it is. We have passed over this bridge and breathed the cool, acid smell of the stagnant water. We have leaned over the still water on this side of the loch, where the green creepers and weeds hang from the piles of the bridge. And on hot days, we rejoiced in the spouting foam on the other side of the loch and told tales about our school teachers. I pass over the bridge. I look right and left. The water is as full of weeds as ever, and it still shoots over in gleaming arches. In the tower building, laundresses still stand with bare arms as they used to over the clean linen. And the heat from the ironing pours out through the open windows. Dogs trot along the narrow street. Before the doors of the houses, people stand and follow me with their gaze as I pass, dirty and heavy laden. In this confectioner's, we used to eat ices, and there we learned to smoke cigarettes. Walking down the street, I know every shop, the grocers, the chemists, the bakers. Then at last I stand before the brown door with its warm latch, and my hand grows heavy. I open the door, and a strange coolness comes out to meet me. My eyes are dim. The stairs creak under my boots. Upstairs, a door rattles. Someone is looking over the railing. It is the kitchen door that was opened. They are cooking potato cakes. The house reeks of it. And today, of course, is Saturday. That will be my sister leaning over. For a moment I am shy and lower my head. Then I take off my helmet and look up. Yes, it is my eldest sister. Paul, she cries, Paul! I nod. My pack bumps against the banisters. My rifle is so heavy. She pulls the door open and calls, Mother, Mother, Paul is here! I can go no further. Mother, Mother, Paul is here! I lean against the wall and grip my helmet and rifle. I hold them as tight as I can, but I cannot take another step. The staircase fades before my eyes. I support myself with the butt of my rifle against my feet and clench my teeth fiercely. But I cannot speak a word. My sister's call has made me powerless. I can do nothing. I struggle to make myself laugh, to speak, but no word comes. And so I stand on the steps, miserable, helpless, paralyzed, and against my will, the tears running down my cheeks. My sister comes back and says, "Why, what is the matter?" Then I pull myself together and stagger onto the landing. I lean my rifle in a corner. I set my pack against the wall, place my helmet on it, and fling down my equipment and baggage. Then I say fiercely, "Bring me a handkerchief." She gives me one from the cupboard, and I dry my face. Above me on the wall hangs the glass case with the colored butterflies that I once collected. Now I hear my mother's voice. It comes from the bedroom. "Is she in bed?" I ask my sister. "She is ill," she replies. I go into her, give her my hand, and say as calmly as I can, "Here I am, mother." She lies still in the dim light. Then she asks anxiously, "Are you wounded?" And I feel her searching glance. "No, I have got leave." My mother is very pale. I am afraid to make a light. "Here I lie now," says she, "and cry instead of being glad." "Are you sick, mother?" I ask. "I am going to get up a little today," she says, and turns to my sister, who is continually running to the kitchen to watch that the food does not burn, and put out that jar of preserved whortleberries. "You like that, don't you?" she asks me. "Yes, mother, I haven't had any for a long time." "We might almost have known you were coming," laughs my sister. "There is just your favorite dish, potato cakes, and then whortleberries to go with them, too." "And it is a Saturday," I add. "Sit here beside me," says my mother. She looks at me. Her hands are white and sickly and frail compared with mine. We say very little, and I am thankful that she asks nothing. What ought I to say? Everything I could have wished for has happened. I have come out of it safely and sit here beside her. And in the kitchen stands my sister preparing supper and singing. "Dear boy," says my mother softly. We were never very demonstrative in our family. Poor folk who toil and are full of cares are not so. It is not their way to protest what they already know. When my mother says to me, "Dear boy," it means much more than when another uses it. I know well enough that the jar of whortleberries is only one they have had for months, and that she has kept it for me, and the somewhat stale cakes that she gives me too. She must have got them cheap sometime and put them all by for me. I sit by her, and through the window the chestnut trees in the beer garden opposite glow in brown and gold. I breathe deeply and say over to myself, "You are at home. You are at home." But a sense of strangeness will not leave me. I cannot feel at home amongst these things. There is my mother, there is my sister, there my case of butterflies, and there the mahogany piano. But I am not myself there. There is a distance, a veil between us. I go and fetch my pack to the bedside and turn out the things I have brought. A whole Edinburgh cheese that Cat provided me with, 2 loaves of army bread, 3/4 of a pound of butter, 2 tins of livered sausage, a pound of dripping, and a little bag of rice. I suppose you can make some use of that. They nod. It is pretty bad for food here, I inquire. Yes, there's not much. Do you get enough out there? I smile and point to the things I have brought. Not always quite as much as that, of course, but we fare reasonably well. Erna takes away the food. Suddenly, my mother seizes hold of my hand and asks falteringly, Was it very bad out there, Paul? Mother, what shall I answer to that? You would not understand. You could never realize it, and you shall never realize it. Was it bad, you ask? You, mother. I shake my head and say, No, mother, not so very. There are always a lot of us together, so it isn't so bad. Yes, but Heinrich Bredemeyer was here just lately and said it was terrible out there now, with the gas and all the rest of it. It is my mother who says that. She says, with the gas and all the rest of it. She does not know what she is saying. She is merely anxious for me. Should I tell her now? Tell her how we once found 3 enemy trenches with their garrison all stiff as though stricken with apoplexy against the parapet. In the dugouts just where they were, the men stood and lay about with blue faces, dead. No, mother, that's only talk, I answer. There's not very much in what Bredemeyer says. You see, for instance, I'm well and fit. Before my mother's tremulous anxiety, I recover my composure. Now I can walk about and talk and answer questions without fear of having suddenly to lean against the wall, because the world turns soft as rubber and my veins become brimstone. My mother wants to get up, so I go for a while to my sister in the kitchen. What is the matter with her? I ask. She shrugs her shoulders. She has been in bed some months now, but we did not want to write and tell you. Several doctors have been to see her. One of them said it is probably cancer again. I go to the district commandment to report myself. Slowly I wander through the streets. Occasionally someone speaks to me. I do not delay long, for I have little inclination to talk. On the way back from the barracks, a loud voice calls out to me. Still lost in thought, I turn round and find myself confronted by a major. Can't you salute? He blusters. So sorry, Major, I say in embarrassment. I didn't notice you. Don't you know how to speak properly? He roars. I would like to hit him in the face, but control myself, for my leave depends on it. I click my heels and say, I did not see you, Herr Major. Then keep your eyes open, he snorts. What is your name? I give it. His fat red face is furious. What regiment? I give him full particulars. Even yet he has not had enough. Where are you quartered? But I have had more than enough, and say, between Langmark and Bistshoot. Eh? He asks, a bit stupefied. I explain to him that I arrived on leave only an hour or two since, thinking that he would then trot along, but not at all. He gets even more furious. You think you can bring your frontline manners here? What? Well, we don't stand for that sort of thing. Thank God we have discipline here. 20 paces, backward, double march, he commands. I am mad with rage, but I cannot say anything to him. He could put me under arrest if he liked. So I double back and then march up to him. 6 paces from him, I spring to a stiff salute and maintain it until I am 6 paces beyond him. He calls me back again and affably gives me to understand that for once he is pleased to put mercy before justice. I pretend to be duly grateful. Now dismiss, he says. I turn about smartly and march off. That ruins the evening for me. I go back home and throw my uniform in a corner. I had intended to change it in any case. Then I take out my civilian clothes from the wardrobe and put them on. I feel awkward. The suit is rather tight and short. I've grown in the army. Collar and tie give me some trouble. In the end, my sister ties the bow for me, but how light the suit is. It feels as though I had nothing on but a shirt and underpants. I look at myself in the glass. It is a strange sight. A sunburnt, overgrown candidate for confirmation gazes at me in astonishment. My mother is pleased to see me wearing civilian clothes. It makes me less strange to her. But my father would rather I kept my uniform on so that he could take me to visit his acquaintances. But I refuse. It is pleasant to sit quietly somewhere in the beer garden, for example, under the chestnuts by the skittle alley. The leaves fall down on the table and on the ground, only a few the first. A glass of beer stands in front of me. I've learned to drink in the army. The glass is half empty, but there are a few good swigs ahead of me, and besides, I can always order a second and a third if I wish to. There are no bulges and no bombardments. The children of the house play in the skittle alley, and the dog rests his head against my knee. The sky is blue between the leaves of the chestnuts, which rise the green spire of St. Margaret's Church. This is good, I like it. But I cannot get on with the people. My mother is the only one who asks no questions. Not so my father. He wants me to tell him about the front. He is curious in a way that I find stupid and distressing. I no longer have any real contact with him. There is nothing he likes more than just hearing about it. I realize he does not know that a man cannot talk of such things. I would do it willingly, but it is too dangerous for me to put these things into words. I am afraid they might then become gigantic, and I be no longer able to master them. What would become of us if everything that happens out there were quite clear to us? So I confine myself to telling him a few amusing things, but he wants to know whether I have ever had a hand-to-hand fight. I say no and get up and go out. But that does not mend matters. After I have been startled a couple of times in the street by the screaming of the tram cars, which resembles the shriek of a shell coming straight for one, somebody taps me on the shoulder. It is my German master, and he fastens on me with the usual question. Well, how are things out there? Terrible, terrible, eh? Yes, it is dreadful. But we must carry on. And after all, you do at least get decent food out there. So I hear. Oh, that was him speaking, not the narrator. You look well, Paul, and fit. Naturally, it's worse here, naturally. the best of our soldiers every time. That goes without saying. He drags me along the table with a lot of others. They welcome me. A headmaster shakes hands with me and says, "So you've come from the front? What is the spirit like out there? Excellent, eh? Excellent?" I explain that no one would be sorry to be back here. He laughs uproariously. "I can well believe it. But first you have to give the froggies a good hiding. Do you smoke? Here, try one. Waiter, bring a beer as well for our young warrior." Unfortunately, I have accepted the cigar, so I have to remain. And they are all so dripping with goodwill that it is impossible to object. All the same, I feel annoyed and smoke like a chimney as hard as I can in order to make at least some show of appreciation. I toss off the beer in one gulp. Immediately, a second is ordered. People know how much they are indebted to the soldiers. They argue about what we ought to annex. The headmaster, with his steel watch chain, wants to have at least the whole of Belgium, the coal areas of France, and a slice of Russia. He produces reasons why we must have them, and is quite inflexible until at last the others give in to him. Then he begins to expound just whereabouts in France the breakthrough must come, and turns to me. "Now, above ahead a bit out there with your everlasting trench warfare. Smash through the Johnnies, and then there will be peace." I reply that in our opinion a breakthrough may not be possible. The enemy may have too many reserves. Besides, the war may be rather different from what people think. He dismisses the idea loftily and informs me I know nothing about it. "The details, yes," says he, "but this relates to the whole, and of that you are not able to judge. You see only your little sector, and so cannot have any general survey. You do your duty, you risk your lives, you deserve the highest honor. Every man of you ought to have the Iron Cross, but first of all, the enemy line must be broken through in Flanders and then rolled up from the top." He blows his nose and wipes his beard. Completely rolled up they must be, from the top to the bottom, and then to Paris. I would like to know just how he pictures it to himself, and pour the third glass of beer into me. Immediately he orders another, but I break away. He stuffs a few more cigars into my pocket and sends me off with a friendly slap. "All of the best. I hope you will soon hear something worthwhile. We will soon hear something worthwhile from you." I imagined leave would be different from this. Indeed, it was different a year ago. It is I, of course, that have changed in the interval. There lies a gulf between that time and today. At that time, I still knew nothing about the war. We had only been in quiet sectors. But now I see that I have been crushed without knowing it. I find I do not belong here anymore. It is a foreign world. Some of these people ask questions, some ask no questions. But one can see that the latter are proud of themselves for their silence. They often say with a wise air that these things cannot be talked about. They plume themselves on it. I prefer to be alone, so that no one troubles me. For they all come back to the same thing: how badly it goes and how well it goes. One thinks it is this way, another that, and yet they are always absorbed in the things that go to make up their existence. Formerly, I lived in just the same way myself, but now I feel no contact here. They talk too much for me. They have worries, aims, desires that I cannot comprehend. I often sit with one of them in the little beer garden and try to explain to him that this is really the only thing, just to sit quietly like this. They understand, of course. They agree. They may even feel it so too, but only with words. Only with words. Yes, that is it. They feel it, but always with only half of themselves. The rest of their being is taken up with other things. They are so divided in themselves that none feels it with their whole essence. I cannot even say myself exactly what I mean. When I see them here in their rooms, in their offices, about their occupations, I feel an irresistible attraction to it, in it. I would like to be here too and forget the war. But also it repels me. It is so narrow. How can that fill a man's life? He ought to smash it to bits. How can they do it while out at the front the splinters are whining over the shell holes and star shells go up? The wounded are carried back on waterproof sheets and comrades crouch in the trenches. They are different men here, men I cannot properly understand, whom I envy and despise. I must think of Kat and Albert and Mueller and Jaden. What will they be doing? No doubt they are sitting in the canteen, or perhaps swimming. Soon they will have to go up to the front line again. In my room, behind the table, stands a brown leather sofa. I sit down on it. On the walls are pinned countless pictures that I once used to cut out of the newspapers. In between are drawings and postcards that have pleased me. In the corner is a small iron stove. Against the wall opposite stand the bookshelves with my books. I used to live in this room before I was a soldier. The books I bought gradually with the money I earned by coaching. Many of them are secondhand. All the classics, for example. One volume in blue cloth boards cost 1 mark 20 pfennig. I bought them complete because it was thoroughgoing. I did not trust the editors of selections to choose all the best, so I purchased only collected works. I read most of them with laudable zeal, but few of them really appealed to me. I preferred other books, the moderns, which were, of course, much dearer. A few I came, but not quite honestly. I borrowed and did not return them because I did not want to part with them. One shelf is filled with school